I think that you can break it down into three categories, really, that are signified by the words. I mean, there's the survival aspect. It's a system that offers people a way of life that is really perfect for the jaded few that really think that maybe there is more than just what's put on the plate in front of everybody and most people just accept. And then there's the research part. I mean, we are really trying to do something new here. It's not about like something practical for sale. It's not like next year's widget in any sense. You know, it really is just like pure research, which is about creating more problems than you solve. And I mean, it really is a laboratory too, because it's like always only about development. We're not trying to get really even good at what we do, you know? I mean, what we do just always changes, and, you know, we just see if we can do it each time.
I'm here specifically to experience this tour that I feel has been on, I know mine and Mark's mind for years, has been a small dream to come to another country with the same performance scenario. You know, it's a great feeling to have, we've achieved that. I mean, there's one small victory there so far.
I started building the first couple machines and then staged the first show in February of '79. It was called Machine Sex. Cast of 3 machines. 3 machines and a few pigeons. Dead pigeons. It was really kind of like hot to do something with my life. I knew that I would have hated myself before very long unless I came up with something that really was completely different from anything I'd ever seen before. The mechanical and electronic and technical world was essentially untried territory, and I felt that I could spend, you know, 50, 60, 70 years doing it and still not really know what I was doing. The only way for a creative person to really make any sort of a statement that has to do with what's going on in the culture at this time, in technological culture that at least I live in, is to deal with the tools that have made it that kind of a culture.
Europe is great, fantastic, I love it. The support here has been just phenomenal. Putting in a shower for us, buying trailers so that we can sleep comfortably.
If I was living at the shop in San Francisco, it wouldn't be much worse than this. I mean, it's got a working bathroom, good food, it's got a roof over our heads.
Do you make much money doing this?
I make 20 guilders a day, which is the equivalent of about $10, which doesn't bother me because I get fed and I don't have much time to spend my money anyway.
I mean, the way I see the title is it sort of deals with the impressions that I have from afar, a place like Amsterdam. This is a place where they experimented with controlling people in the culture by giving them everything they wanted. It's a funny thing that, like, in a culture where everything is so free and everything is so permitted here, it just seems really controlled to me anyway. I mean, how come if you can do all these incredible, excessive things, why aren't really wild things happening here? shockwave cannon hits you in the face, you know that you're hit with something, and even if you really understand how it works, it's not going to make it any less surprising or any less of an affront to your personal barrier that you have between yourself and the world. At about 10 years old, I owned this device called a Mattel Sonic Blaster, which was nowhere near as powerful as the shockwave gun, but it worked on the same principle. And in 1979, I rode off to the Mattel Corporation and found out that so many kids had blown their eardrums out of it that the lawsuits specified that it had to be taken out of the market and all examples destroyed. I think 85, I made one for the Deliberately False Statement show, which was a different design. And it was too powerful to fire at an audience. At the Mirror there was like someone that did get cut with some glass that got blown at them that was liberated from its frame by that machine. But the person wasn't upset. I mean, I would have been, I'm glad that they weren't upset. I mean, that would have really disturbed me a lot. But they seemed to be satisfied that what they saw was reasonable justification for the injury they suffered. How does SRL survive? Well, I mean, it's the system handed down from time immemorial. Those that have not get. Those that have lose a little bit. But if they're really serious about having it, they make sure that they don't really lose enough to destroy them. And I mean, there's no way that you can, you know, crash down the barriers of wealth anyway. I mean, all you can do is chip away at them, and that's pretty much what SRL does. We sort of scrounge around, and if we need something, and if it's really worth having, we get it no matter what the odds against us possessing it.
We've got a scavenging department that's very good. There's a phenomenal amount of obtainium in Amsterdam we have found.
What's obtainium?
Something that can be easily obtained. And since we don't have money to spend, easily means for free, yeah.
The SRL tentacles are far-reaching and ever drawing it in. Come to me, hydrofluid.
We don't buy shell products, but we do occasionally steal them.
We sort of breathe in these items around us, and then exhale all at once.
You have to bite the hand that feeds you, really, or else you just become another lapdog. We're going to have some symbols here that sort of take advantage of the cartoon concept of what Holland culture is. Everyone here gets $500 a month no matter what the fuck they do, you know, after they're 16 years old. And that, to me, is incredible. I mean, to actually not have to work. It's like, essentially, what would it be like if, like, everybody you knew had a trust fund?
You have a lot of social control here. You also have a lot of social dole, a lot of people being on a dole. That's also for control. By giving them money, you control them. You control their minds.
We have to have a safety net to sort of symbolize the negative aspects of things that you can fall back on that are always going to be there. We're going to make a cartoon out of work. Of course, that involves, as the centerpiece of the performance, an enormous tower of Babel, which is a symbol of work, but work to no end.
Last night, around 5 o'clock, people heard noises and they went to look, and people from the island were smashing windows from the little houses and breaking wood and stuff. One of the first day we found these posters with no Yanks, no tanks. And, well, this guy who made this, he had the feeling or the thought or whatever was in his head that it was kind of militaristic.
What happened here is they have already what I call support your own local action group. They have immediately started, the people who live around here, an action group against the SRL with an excuse that it is because of Yankee mentality or something, which is actually not. It's just because they get waken up in their nice dream. They sit in their little houses being nice hippies, and there's something just putting fence around them and starting to be very active and using a lot of energy, and they flip out on that.
Legs machine is just a dolt.
So why did you make it?
I was mad. And I wanted something to stamp its feet around like I never do, and falls over in the process usually. You only ever want to stick down for the minimal amount of time possible. There you go, good job, good job. At the end of the show, then you can dance more, because if the machine breaks then, it's not as important, you know what I mean?
Wait, watch out. Okay, now come on up. Come on up. Now get it centered, pretty much.
Come your way a bit.
Oh, man. Come towards there. The screw machine's a really chaotic, sort of anarchistic machine, and it just barely is controllable enough to be useful. But that little edge of controllability is exactly the amount that's required to make it a real lead actor in the performances. The show is about achieving complete freedom from the restraints of civilization. And one way to achieve complete freedom from the restraints of civilization is to burn civilization down. Then you're free of it.
Like this. Oh, wait.
The day you came, it started to rain and it didn't stop. I don't know why.
Rain screws everything up. What can you say? Rain slows down all working processes. You can work at a quarter of your normal speed in the rain. You're prone to getting a lot of nice electric shocks. Let's face it, rain is good for trees, and I'm not a tree, and neither is this machine.
machines, wars, everything from America, whatever. Everything comes down, the churches, the houses, the glass houses, but the mill is still working. One of the reasons why Mickery is co-producing or co-presenting this thing with the NL Center and the Zomerfestijn is the fact that this is a wonderful metaphor for the situation of the Dutch or European or maybe the world theater is in. Because what you see is people fighting and getting money to create products. And the only thing essential for them is the final result, the fact that it is entertainment. And they don't care anymore about the process. I don't intend or want to see the work of SRL as a metaphor for something else, for the things happening in the world. I don't mind where it is from. Everybody can have his own, should have, will have, his own association, or no, because it can as well stand on its own.
We had our fog machine stolen last night with our consent by the Conradstraat. That was a fairly large, long-time squad in Amsterdam, about a 5-minute bike ride from here. It was like Chicago or something. There was like hundreds and hundreds of cops. I'd been standing there about 10 minutes, and I hear this familiar hum and then billowing black smoke, and I knew that. And I went, item number 71 on our car day list. In action.
Some of the people who were at the Conradstraat, they visited SRL, they came to us, what can you do? Could you build a flamethrowers? Now, Mark came with it and he said, well, you could do this and that and that and that and that. And they got real excited and they started collecting like hell. They just stacked them with wood and old textile and all the rubbish they could get, you know, and put every little big room had a oil on the ground and a little tank with fuel. And we just burned the whole fucking place.
SRL is really inspiring me, other people as well. Just because their working power, their really will to survive.
We have to fit however many machines we have here all into one container, which is harder than doing the hardest jigsaw puzzle you've ever done, and a lot heavier. Bring it to Copenhagen, take it all out again, put it all back together again, do another show.
Try to take that sort of Danish system and, you know, try to make the sets like very orderly and very organized, but at the same time have them represent really hidden fears and monsters and pull out all the things that are behind the cracks and all the beautiful facades and all the buildings here, the things, all the monsters that sort of rest on the cornices of the buildings. I think we want to try to sort of bring their spirits out here and unleash them at the performance so that everybody can see these things that I think are way below the surface in Denmark. We want to bring them right out and shove them in people's faces.
This is the cow tick bag, which Nikolai and I last night spent many a long hour opening up bottles of curdled milk, hardened yogurt, and rather sour cream. Dumped them into plastic bags, wrapped them all up, and covered it with cowhide. So when the inchworm Jaws decides that it's a little bit hungry, it's going to have a nice little snack to munch on.
The big arm. Well, you could look at it as just sort of a direct extension of really what SRL has been about from the outset, and that's a way of projecting an idea through a really powerful mechanism under your reasonably complete control.
The microprocessor presently has control over a number of the arm joints and the legs, and there's a throttle control, so that it can move about, it can grasp things by itself. It's important to unload as much effort as you can, as much of the workload, onto the machines themselves.
Whereas this may appear to be an ordinary iron vat, in fact, what it is, it's a fondue pit. It'll be filled with cheese or milk products, and we'll be able to dip stuff into it. We'll have a little meat mermaid over here, and I guess it's going to go swimming in here at a certain part of the show, and then end up as an offering to the audience.
What does this music have to do with this performance is a question a lot of people must be asking themselves. Is there a big joke being played on us? Are we supposed to be tapping our toes? Because I know there's a lot of toe tappers out there. Indeed there are. Pre-show music that I select is first and foremost music that I very much enjoy, but I think that it helps to create a tension by having a dynamically opposed type of pre-show music. Helps to electrify the atmosphere a lot.
It's really like a puzzle that's halfway put together, and really all we do is try to make the arrangement compelling enough so that people feel an incentive to really try to understand it, but always just incomprehensible enough that they'll never be able to do that conclusively.
They can make up their own story about why this is all happening, and they've got to do that, you know.
The loose ends are the most important things about dreams. They're the things that we can always marvel about because we're never going to really understand them. And I think that that's, I mean, at its best, an SRL show can mirror those kind of things.
I was thinking about the soundtrack, and I was realizing that there was a great potential for sound in the machines that I hadn't yet addressed, and that is why I'm building the xylophone for the tank. To run on, underneath that is going to be bolted a piano harp with the soundboard still on it, bolted solidly to the frame. This instrument has to be carefully tuned, carefully tuned.
First time I've operated the screw machine in a show, so that's a real gas. It's going to be the real troublemaker. It's going to be the machine that like didn't get invited to the party. So, you know, it's going to come in and bully everybody around a little bit. The front rows will be seated, and I hear tell that they'll stay seated and be a very polite audience, but we shall see.
I just hope everything works.
Is he dead? He never was alive.
But you can't destroy flesh any more than you can It's like flesh you're touching. The flesh you want to destroy. But you can't destroy flesh any more than you can your body. It's all the same material. What do you want? I punished you for your crime. No. You gave me extreme pleasure.
It was totally crazy.
I thought it was big and ugly.
I never really felt that the kind of reaction I was going to get out of an audience like this was going to be anything more than just like complete incomprehensibility.
I think they're crazy in the head.
I made my way over to the right-hand side where I started abusing the audience a little bit. I think they were a little scared, but I saw a lot of people laughing too, laughing as they were running.
It's kind of a no-holds-barred dissemination of information for purposes that are not necessarily completely humanitarian.
Yes, I was shot several times, especially with the air gun or what it was blown off.
I shot so many people. 3 meters, 4 meters, people were away from the shockwave gun, and it just blowed on them.
It was really important that he make those people feel as bad as he could.
I was sitting over here by the big cannon, and it was shooting all the time, you know, and it was disturbing. But what I saw of the show, I liked.
They were just part of the way that the show was going. I mean, they had to like really sort of be victims. They sort of had to be sacrificed.
Jeg fik ret meget petroleum på brillerne, så det kniv med at se.
I was safe in the back row, so I liked it.
In their own country, maybe they're not victims because, you know, it's like a kind of a herd of animals that live someplace where there's really no predators. If you interject some sort of predatory consideration, then it just changes everything. And I felt like that again was part of maybe that was part of the role that we had to play here.
Forestillingen som sådan vældig interessant, det må jeg skulle sige. Og jeg kan godt forstå, at I skal have en brandsikring med de elementer, I har i gang.
The machines were totally at ease in the world we created for them, and I really felt like everything that they did was completely natural. If we're really organized and we're really controlling them, they start to take on a life of their own, and they do things that somehow belie an intelligence that goes far beyond. We're trying to develop new idioms. It's still at a very early stage, but I think we're really beginning to understand the range of things that can be done and how to employ them in the different places we may go to. I mean, I see SRL as like an alternative, a working situation for people who really do have skills and who really don't want to be involved in the status quo expression of what those skills can do in business or you know, industry or science or the military. Yeah, I'd really like to see SRL siphon off a lot of the talent that goes into like the defense industry. Essentially, we can't go on using the technologies we have in a destructive fashion because we're getting too good at using them. We're getting too good at figuring out how to make cruise missiles and neutron bombs and F-16 jets. How many times over can you kill somebody, really? How many times over can you, like, control rioters? I mean, it just is sort of ridiculous at a certain point. Technology has to go into areas that don't have anything to do with practicality, or it's just going to go into the ultimate impractical act, which is destroying us all.